brought a toast.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Some of the finest wares of Mexico. Tequila. Huh? Yeah! Guys, so we leave off. We're on chapter 15. We left off with the La Noche Triste, which if you don't know what that is, if you're just jumping in now, please go back to the beginning. But where we left off, it's got to be said every time. Don't be a psycho. Get part 6 and just go to the beginning, please. Or else you'll sound like a fucking idiot when you try to explain this. You don't get any pussy at the bar. So, Noche Triste, it's when Cortez and his men had successfully and peacefully cooed the city of Tenochtitlan, City of Dreams, modern day Mexico City, or what's now Mexico City. And, you obviously, if you listen, you know what happened. Cortez left to go handle business. One of his bros just got paranoid and slaughtered a huge contingent of the city. And, just kind of lost his marbles. And then the Aztecs attacked him. They had to retreat from Tenochtitlan, the prize city. They had they had rooms full of treasure ready to put on boats, leave. They had the boats built and everything. And the guy fucked it all up and all the treasure got lost. And the Spaniards lost. It was really the majority of the Spanish deaths in this came from, battle deaths at least, came from this one night.
That greed night, right?
La Noche Triste, the sad night, the night of sadness. The majority, after it was all said and done, all the battles, fighting, literally, collectively, probably 100,000 different, people in battle. Majority of their losses came in this one night. It was truly a sad night. All their treasure was lost. Their prized Spanish horses were killed.
Looking out over that had to be crazy. Looking out over that battle after it happened, just the survivor, just bodies and gold and horses and
yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, it was really bad.
The Spanish lost.
That was their biggest loss, leaving Tenochtitlan. Because again, Tenochtitlan is a city surrounded by water. Mm-hmm. They have those little bridges, and when you're on horseback, it's like open season. You're narrow, you're walking across this bridge, and there's guys in canoes just blowing darts at you and throwing rocks at you. So, and then we talked about how they escaped finally, and the reason the Aztecs didn't pursue them and finish them off is because they were too busy dancing in the end zone. They literally, for battle,
that's so funny.
There wasn't it wasn't the cold, precise military precision that the Spaniards had. They were kind of tradition says that we now have to go sacrifice these victims. When they could have finished they could have changed the world.
Were they eating part of them or something like that?
Yeah, of course they had to munch them. They would munch their thighs. So they would take them. They would they would wear their faces too. So you would finish battle, wear their faces, and eat their thigh meat. And instead of finishing, they could have literally, at least that wave. I think the Spaniards would eventually obviously taken them, but yeah, they're they could have stopped it all, but they fucked up big time.
Celebration.
So with that being said, and then the other thing too, just to bring you up to speed, to jog your memory, Cortez then had to take his battered troops after losing almost half of them, and he got stuck in days later. The Aztec general came with a huge force of Aztecs, and they're all dude, we're gonna die. We haven't eaten really anything.
Yeah,
we're gonna get killed. And then Cortez did a psycho Braveheart charge on a horseback. Because the general had a giant feathered headdress. So he just kind of charged with him. Cortez and his 4 boys charged on horses, and the goal was kill the general, basically cut the head off the snake.
Yeah.
And they actually succeeded in doing this. And then Cortez had a fractured skull and probably heavy concussions while doing this. He had a mangled hand, fractured skull. So after he, along with a couple guys, single-handedly defeat the Aztec army by charging them on horseback, and I think Cortez knocked his feathered headdress off, and then his boy came through and speared the guy and killed him.
Smacked
and
his hand off.
They say one of them picked the headdress up on. Although these guys would write in their journals, and they were literally in cap heaven.
Yeah,
they had no idea. Did you see the Rick Ross thing, by the way?
No.
There was a lady who accused him of sliding into her DMs, and he just responded, be like, "This little hoe's going to cap heaven," and he it might be the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Cap heaven.
But these guys, and it's a real problem in history because these guys would exaggerate big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then I picked up this thing on my spear and lifted it up. But Cortez did charge like a madman. That's the thing too. As a leader, you think is there's a general and they kind of hang in the back, and he would go first a lot of the time. Sometimes he would fall back, but there were so many examples in this book where he's like, I'm riding front lines in a battle. Dude was a beast.
Yeah.
Say what you will about him. You can't say he was a pussy.
No,
Cortez is not a pussy.
He's
So
going nuts through this whole thing.
He fully won. And he definitely got CTE like halfway. We'll get into it. But basically, Cortez has this massive military victory, scatters a huge Aztec force that, again, could have wiped them out after they were done dancing in the end zone. They did reassemble and cut them off to go like finish them off. And Cortez went dumb on a horse, total fucking Braveheart. Army scatters. So Cortez gets back to Tlaxcala, or whatever it's called. That was their allies, the Tlaxcalans. And
those ones that like hate the Aztecs.
They hate the fucking Aztecs. They can't stand them. And like the Sempolians were another indigenous group that hated the Aztecs, but they were kind of pussy compared to the Tlaxcalans. The Tlaxcalans didn't give a fuck, and they were like, the Tlaxcalans actually lost 3,000 people in the Noche Triste. They lost a lot of bros, dude. We talked about it last time. They had big time little brother energy. Yeah. Dude, they would send them out on the most dangerous, fucked up parts of these battles, and they were like, I know you're brave. And they'd be like, yeah, watch this shit. And 1,000 of them would get killed with rocks. But Cortez gets back to the Tlaxcan village, and what does he do? It's literally the most alpha thing possible. He falls into a coma. Total Last Samurai move. Goes back. He's in a foreign land. He's been proven in battle. He's injured. He falls into like a week-long coma, and the whole time Malinche is just nursing him back to health.
I for real love Malinche.
Dude, Malinche is for real the best. Yeah. I'll get to the end about Malinche and Cortez's love story.
Yeah.
It's pretty charged at the end. It really surprised me. It kind of caught me off guard.
I'm excited about that.
But so stay tuned to the end to find out what happens. But so he's getting literally like the whole treatment of like water from a rag being dripped into his mouth. It's again, total Last Samurai. After about a week, Cortez finally sits up. They like thought that he was going to die. His morale was pretty low. And he just starts babbling like a fool. It's making no sense at all. But then slowly he kind of gets it together. And over the course of a day or two, he gets up, he's walking around. He can only walk for like a few minutes at a time. He's still very fucked up. But he's moving around enough to kind of assess his troops. And he looks around and he goes, dude, we're fucked. And they took 20 days just to recover. Like they needed to chill for 20 full days. And during that time, 4 dudes died.
That's so funny to be like, we just need him to wake up. He'll get things situated. He wakes up and goes, we're doomed.
He woke up at first and was like, fuck.
He's retarded.
He's fucking retarded. They made him retarded with rocks. Which is kind of like the Aztec battle plan. They're going to make you retarded with rocks and then eat you. It's like,
they took our general's voice.
So then he recovers though. 20 days go by. He's able to walk around. He's getting around. He can kind of think. He can talk. During this time, all was not good with the Tlaxcalans or whatever they're called. Tlaxicans. I'll call them Tlaxicans. So the head chief, his name was Maxacatzin. I'm just going to call him Max Attack. Max Attack was the chief of the village, along with this guy Ixatinga the Elder. And these guys, they liked Cortez, and they'd already pledged, their allegiance to the guy, as they had shown by giving him all those troops and supporting him in battle against the Aztecs. They liked him, and they were, these guys stood by their word. But there's a guy Xicotenga the Younger, or Ixatinga the Younger, and he never liked the Spaniards the whole time. He was obviously Ixatinga the Elder's son. He was little Ixatinga. And little Ixatinga was a bit of a problem in this village, and during this time he got approached by an envoy of Aztecs promising him, he's like, dude, we'll give you guys a ton of salt, cotton, and feathers. Just stop feeding these fucking Spaniards. He's like, stop giving them food, stop taking care of them. These guys, we got them weak, they could die. So Ixatinga, they have a big council. Ixatinga the Younger goes to the council with the idea, and Max Attack and Ixatinga the Senior go like, basically get the fuck out of here with the bullshit. We hate Aztecs. Like, these are our lifelong blood enemies. Yeah. We're not taking their salt and feathers. Fuck you, dude.
I respect the shit out of
that. Fuck you. Yeah, they're kind of, the old dudes are nice. They're like, fuck the Aztecs. Cortez is our boy. And also Max Attack's daughter, who had been married to one of the Spanish captains, Juan Velazquez Leon, had also died during La Noche Triste, along with her husband, Velazquez Leon. And just both of them died and sank into those dark, cold waters. And so obviously Max Attack didn't forget that. So he was telling Ixatinga the Younger, like, basically, he was so mad he had to be physically removed from the council. Damn. And Max Attack kind of after that guy got like pulled out, he like literally got bounced out of the meeting. And Max Attack tells Cortez, he's like, bro, we have common enemies, obviously. He's like, my people are true and loyal friends and will stand by you to death. And we also have a common cause for vengeance because, like, you're mad about... Cortez is mad about his treasure.
Yeah.
He's like, you lost your treasure. My daughter died. We're both fucking pissed here. He goes, and I will, for real, like, I'll die for you, dude. He's like, I'm willing to have my entire village perish. And honestly, too, he wasn't just bullshitting because he had lost, like we said, he'd lost thousands of people already. But
Plus his wife and daughter, right?
no, he lost his daughter. Did he lose his wife?
Daughter. I was thinking the other guy.
No, yeah, he didn't lose his wife. He was, I mean, he probably had like 10 wives. The guy was a fucking chief.
But I didn't even care if he lost his
he
wife.
gave a shit. But the problem was, well, it's not even the problem. This guy obviously was pretty savvy. Max Attack goes, I'll duck and die for you. I love you, Cortez. But now that we're going to, re-siege Tenochtitlan, I want some shit.
Yeah.
Like I took some heavy losses. Basically, he was like, Cortez and them had been accepting tributes from these like neighboring city states.
Yeah.
And he was like, when we reconquer, I want to get cut in on those tribute payments. I want to have people sent here where I can cut their heads off and shit. Although I think these guys were Christians, so I think they swore off the sacrifice.
Like he Cortez got them.
He actually, the lady who died, his daughter who died, had been baptized, and her name, she had like a name like Doña Maria.
She's in heaven then.
She's in heaven. She made it to heaven. Thank fucking God.
Yeah.
So Max Attack though does use that opportunity to be like, bro, like I want a piece of Tenochtitlan that can be like a a Tlaxican kind of outpost. I want tribute payments from the surrounding areas. Like we're gonna go 50-50 kind of on this. No more of this like, I'm just gonna help you kind of shit. So and Cortez was like, yeah, for sure. Like he's like, he's probably all pumped up on the stand by you to death talk after almost dying.
Yeah.
Because that would have been awkward to be like, yeah, I hear you, but like yeah, I'm not going to give you like any of the shit. So, but that's kind of nice though. If anyone out there has to apply for a job or go on a job interview, maybe hit him with like, I'll fucking die for you.
I'll die for this job.
You're at the Costco warehouse and be like, why do dude, I literally would be willing for my entire family to meet a gruesome fate.
What is your weakness? I think I'd rather die for this job.
Yeah,
my biggest weakness is
yeah, like
that I'd die for
if
this
in the
job.
process of me working in this warehouse, my entire family's crushed by a pallet of soda, so fucking be it. All I ask for is a decent salary. It was kind of a mindfuck. Yeah. All I asked for is $38 an hour
And health insurance.
Yeah.
So yeah, Max Attacks goes and makes his plea for more stuff because he's going to pledge more guys for the the reconquest efforts. And Cortez is like, yeah, obviously, bro. Like we're bros. I love you. Like if the Tlaxcans had turned on him at this point, they could have killed him. Like they were in a pretty precarious situation.
Yeah.
So then Cortez is like, all right, I don't like I don't like our state here. I'm feeling kind of weak. He writes a letter to La Villa Rica de la Cruz, his flagship village.
De la Cruz.
And he tells his first in charge, he goes, his name is Alonso Caballero. He goes, yo, man, send me some more guys. And all their gunpowder got soaking wet. So their gunpowder was trash. Cool. He goes, send me some men and some gunpowder. And if anyone talks about leaving to go back to Cuba, scuttle the fucking ships. He's like, he's basically told him like, we had to get out of Tenochtitlan. He didn't tell them exactly what happened because he didn't want to like fuck morale up. So he kind of lied to them all and was like, yeah, it was just kind of beat. We had to like get out of there real quick. He didn't tell them how bad their damages were, but he goes, dude, send me some gunpowder, send me some, more soldiers. We need some people. And so like, a few days pass. Sure enough, reinforcements arrive. They had a ton of supplies, which was cool. But then the only guys that came were 7 fucked up guys that had scurvy. So they were like waiting for reinforcements, and guys in worse condition came, just like boils and blisters over their face, which is kind of funny because if nothing else, even though the people were pretty beat up at that thing and like, demoralized, when these 7 scurvy guys rolled up, they just all started laughing at him, making fun of him. So for like the next week or two, they were calling him, his name was like Lancero, who sent the people, and they called him Lancero's help. And they just fucking for 2 weeks. These guys walked, dude, like to get there was like a trek. It was like a journey in itself. So the fact that they made it there, and they were already sick and fucked up, and everyone was like, "You guys look like shit," and the whole time we're just like, "Ew, dude, you guys are fucking pathetic." And they just laughed in their face and called him worthless. And told him to get out. Yeah, they called him Lancero's help, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys are fucking worthless," and just clowned him the entire time. The guys probably died, honestly.
Because wasn't the journey to Tenochtitlan like perilous.
Yeah, it was. They barely made it the first time.
Yeah.
Did they like cross a volcano or something?
Yeah, they had to cross volcanoes, cross mountains. They had to freeze for like a week at a time. They had to sleep outside in like 35 degrees.
How did they go through all that?
So high, altitude so high you could hardly breathe.
Yeah, with scurvy.
Oh, for all that, with scurvy, blisters on your face, you'd be like, "Fuck you guys." Like,
You got
all right, well.
like shit.
So now, Cortez is sitting there. He's like, he's like, all right, I got some bullshit help. And he also is facing internal strife among his men because all the treasure was gone. And a lot of his guys, especially the new Narvaez conscripts, started grumbling. They're kind of pissed because Cortez, realizing the majority of the treasure was gone, ordered all the soldiers to pony up whatever like treasure they escaped with into a communal war fund that Cortez obviously controlled and probably took all of it. But he was there's a lot of guys talking about leaving, and Cortez was telling them, the penalty for desertion is death. So if you want to keep playing, I'll kill you. Give me the fucking gold. But also there was a guy, Duero, who was like his business partner who had started kind of ponying up to like pay for some of the stuff. He was
there the whole time?
Duero?
Yeah.
I think he was there the whole time, or he might have came with Narvaez as well. I don't know. That was kind of unclear to me, but I think Duero might have came with Narvaez. Okay. I could be wrong, but he could have also been there the whole time. But something tells me he came later.
Yeah.
But he was apparently footing the cost for the continued, because I think they were like writing letters to get more supplies from Hispaniola or maybe Spain. I think Duero was kind of like in charge of that. But he had wrote Duero, who was his business partner, wrote Cortez a letter, basically telling us 2-page letter, basically telling him the whole thing was looking like a massive bust and they should just pack up and go home. And a bunch of the surviving soldiers signed it too. So they give the Cortez this letter. And also there was language in the letter that kind of pissed Cortez off, being like, we demand that you, and like Cortez apparently was like not really with that shit.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, he was like, no, that like apparently really pissed him off. So Cortez just goes to his tent and he just kind of retires there and he just reads the letter, starts scheming. He's fucking fuming. Still has a fractured skull. He can only walk like, maybe like an hour a day because he was still recovering.
But he's scheming. Cortez in the lab is dangerous.
He's scheming. He's truly in the lab. So he goes, all right, I know my guys are like more than a little fucking disillusioned after the brutal escape and loss of all their treasure. Because the treasure was what he held over their heads the whole time. Now there's zero treasure, or like, next to zero treasure. So he's like, I don't know, man. But he goes, he starts formulating a speech just to kind of get their juices flowing in his favor. Cortez writes his whole speech down. He tells everybody, like, all right, come out. I have read your letter. Just hear me out here. And this was part of his speech. He goes, what nation of those who have ruled the world has not been defeated? What famous captain, I say, ever went home because he had lost a battle or been driven out of some town? Not one, certainly, for if he had not persevered, he would not have conquered or triumphed. And although even though they lost a lot of guys, he told them they still had the same amount of guys they started with. So he goes, dude, look how far we came. We have the original amount of guys.
And he hit him with the Ross. You ain't a boss if you never took a loss.
That's what I'm saying. He hit him. It's like, bro, taking a loss is part of the journey. Kind of hit him with the like good. Yeah. Jocko Willenick, like, oh, half our guys died. Good.
Yeah.
So, and then he's like, guys, we're right where we started from. Look how far we came. We're good. We're totally fine. And then he finished it off with, victories are not won with the many, but with the valiant. And he goes, fortune favors the bold. Dude.
Prize picks.
Yeah.
They're all back on his side already. All right, cool. Sorry about that. Had to check something. All right, so Cortez has his guys. They're fired up. Now they're hearing him. They're kind of like, okay, maybe Cortez is onto something. He is, I do want to be bold. And Cortez closes his statement with a promise. He tells the guy, he goes, yo, let's do one more thing. Let's go get revenge. There's a nearby Aztec outpost called Topeka, and apparently that town recently killed 12 Spaniards who were off on a little scouting expedition. And Cortez was also pissed off because he had also learned that one of his envoys had been slaughtered. There was 50 guys dispatched to run one of Cortez's little secret stashes of remaining treasure back to home base in Villarica. So I guess he did escape with like a nice little trunk of like one of his trunks survived, and it was like a nice little bundle of treasure. So he dispatched 50 guys to run the treasure back to Villarica for safekeeping. And on the way back, all of them got murdered and the treasure was taken. Oof. And he's already got a massive fucking headache. So he goes, guys, I'll tell you what, go on this one last battle with me. And if we lose, I promise you, we'll leave, all of us. We'll go home. As soon as we lose, we're out of here. So the guys are fine. On August 1st, him and his men mount up and head toward Topeka. And attacking Topeka apparently was a strategic move because it reboosted morale because it was like an easy victory among his men, while also reminding Cuitlahuac, who is now the fill-in emperor of the Aztec Empire, that he didn't break the Spaniard spirits. That was kind of Cortez's aim to send him. It was like, it was really big back then. I mean, I guess it is now too, but like, if he would like completely raise a village, the word would spread and it would get people scared so that they were like needed to move around.
Yeah.
If he had just like slaughtered a bunch of people, people would just be like, all right, just go ahead. But if he had just lost, the Aztecs might have got a little brave and started like kind of fucking with him. So he goes down and he just absolutely just crushes Topeka. He also, after crushing the town of Topeka, he also opened up a direct and safe route because, again, like these scouting expeditions, one got murdered, that treasure guys got murdered. So he was like, I need uninterrupted access between where I'm at now, Tlaxan Village, which is his like outpost close to Tenochtitlan, but I also need to have supplies come up from Villarica. So he's like, they were in between those and they were kind of fucking with it. So he just wiped those guys out.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a multi-point strategic move. He got the guy's spirits up. He also was like, look, I'll leave if you want to leave, but if we lose, I'll leave. And they're like, oh, fuck it. So they're like, yeah, let's go. Because then, if we
then
lose,
once
we get
they
to go
got
home.
that dub, they're like, yeah,
They got a big dub. And so, he had boosted the morale. What else? Okay, so yeah, toppled Topeka. Oh, shit. Hold on. Yeah, so attacking Topeka was a strategic move that the whole idea was like it's going to reboost morale among his men, while also reminding Cuitlahuac that he didn't break the Spaniard spirits because, they needed to, like, the fear was a currency back then. So it's like if a lot of the Aztec outpost was hearing that the Spaniards were weak and like they were kind of become easy targets, they would get attacked. So he's like, I want to spread fear, among the land. And also taking out Topeka would open a direct trade route between Tlaxa and Villarica, which is like a needed supply route so they can get stuff so they could eventually retake Tenochtitlan. So Cortez and his guys, they get to the outskirts of Topeka and he sends a small party of Tlaxan messengers letting the Topekans know that they had two choices, submit to the crown or die. And the Topekans told the Tlaxans to tell Cortez that they were low on sacrifice victims and the Spaniards would do just fine. So this is already like their reputation had plummeted already.
Yeah.
They have no respect. The Aztecs are, again, they were like afraid of them before this. Now they're like, dude, we're going to fucking kill you guys.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Shut up, pussy.
Yeah, you can't even think yet.
Dude, so 2 days later, Cortez and his men, along with his fully recovered horses, met the Topekans along with their Aztec support force sent by Cuitlahuac, the new ruler of Tenochtitlan, out in the open plains. And again, the Aztecs, man, this is not their advantage. The open plains against horses, not the move. So the first day, they meet in the open plains to do battle. The Topekans are all fucking pumped up. They got the Aztecs with them. They're like, we're going to fuck these guys up once and for all. Dude, the very first day of battle, 400 of the Topekans and Aztecs died very quickly, and they didn't lose a single Spaniard. On the second day of battle, the Aztec force just fucking abandoned the Topekans. We're like, yeah, we're fucking out of here. Topekans begged for mercy. Cortez, still pissed from his recent humiliations, orders all prisoners of war to be rounded up and enslaved. This is when Cortez starts getting nasty.
Yeah.
And also orders his men to raid all of the nearby towns where any Spaniards have been killed, harassed, or harmed, and loot whatever they need. Anyone they see taken as prisoners, along with a bunch of women and children who were just like, they held trial in the Topekan Central Plaza. And they were like, yeah, you guys are all guilty of being rebels. And they took them, all the women and children, all as slaves as well, and branded their faces.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Cortez was a little nasty after
Even the babes?
The babes got a little brand. Damn. And I think they just did like slave on their face. Which
Also, it was like a butterfly, something cute.
Nothing cute. Nothing cute. No.
He had a little heart in it.
It was just slave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they branded their faces, which that's kind of rough. Dude, after the coma, Cortez was a bit of a bad boy. So yeah, he spent the next 3 weeks just everywhere between there and Villarica, raiding, sacking all nearby towns. He would just roll into ones and just let his dogs loose, start biting people. He just took more slave prisoners, whatever provisions he needed. He also wrote, during this time, he wrote a letter to the king being like, bro, I had no choice to do this. I just don't want these guys doing human sacrifice anymore. And the only way to get them to chill is to just take them. and just have sex with hot ladies because there was a lot of that going on. But
he did try to talk to him, no?
he would go for peace, but
At the beginning, he was super like
he was Mr. Peace, Mr. Chill. He's not Mr. Chill anymore.
He had to take that guy's head.
But and that was the thing too. Cortez, when they did that brutal ransacking of Cholula, it like altered the whole landscape. So he was like, "Fuck these! I'm done fucking around with these guys because I almost died. I've almost died. He's almost died like 5 times now. So I'm done fucking around." He got like pretty brutal too. He wrote that letter to the king, being like, "Bro, like trust me, I'm still chill. Just got to do what I got to do." But in one of the villages, he had lined up and executed 2,000 men while all their wives and children watched. And, the practice, as brutal as it was, it did work because he was feared throughout the land again. His word spread of how nasty he was in Topeka and all of its surrounding area. So now, like, all these people stopped fucking with him again. Yeah. And Cortez founded a new city in Topeka called the Segura la Frontera, which is the security of the frontier. Yeah. So now Cortez has a completely uninterrupted stretch of land between Villa Rica towards the coast, up to like the plain lands of Topeka, and into kind of like before the mountains in Tlaxcala. So he's got a nice stretch of land right before Tenochtitlan. Yeah. So that was like a major victory for him.
Those Aztecs that abandoned, they just like, did they go to another village, or do you think they went back and was like, those fucking Spaniards are tough?
Yeah, they would probably send an emissary back, like messengers back to Tenochtitlan, and then they probably had they had outposts all over there, and they had like a spy network. So some probably went back to Tenochtitlan, the other ones probably just like chilled or went back to another city.
That's probably like, if you go back you're gonna die, right? Because you're abandoning a battlefield.
No, they could retreat. They could be like, fuck it, we had to leave. Because especially if it was like their general told them to retreat, then I think it was like sanctioned. But you never know. I mean, if the emperor gets mad at you, he can definitely cut off your head if he wants. So, pumped on his military successes, as well as the fact that he had now controlled roughly half of Mexico's land, Cortez hatches a wild plan to take Tenochtitlan. Because he goes, all right, the land assault's out. Due to those narrow little bridges, they rendered my horses useless, and they put too many of my men in danger, as you saw during La Noche Triste. He's like, we can't do that again. We need to attack from the water using a naval force. The only problem was he was completely landlocked where he was. And despite, the inconvenient fact of needing a naval force and being completely landlocked, Cortez meets with his master shipbuilder, Martin Lopez, and tells him, I want 13 big warships now. I want them to start being built now. Get a bunch of the Spaniards and a bunch of the Tlaxcans, start cutting down all the lumber, go into the forest, which that itself was like, you're cutting down 50-foot trees.
Yeah.
Carrying them 30 miles back to Tlaxcala, so he had he was just like, trust me, let's get the wood for ships. I have a plan.
These guys were jacked.
So these guys must have been absolutely fucking yoked. So he sets a little scheme to retake Tenochtitlan by just kind of taking the lumber for now. So again, Cortez is still down a bunch of men, not a lot of supplies going on. It's like, yeah, we took Topeka. This is kind of cool, but they're in no shape to try to retake Tenochtitlan. Like it's just not happening. During the shipbuilding period, Cortez just happens to hit a weird chain of super lucky events. Velazquez, his old sponsor from Hispaniola, he didn't hear from Narvaez. So Velazquez had no idea that Narvaez was currently imprisoned.
Yeah.
Had like completely failed, got stabbed in the eye, and was just held naked in a fucking...
I forgot about his
shitty... Yeah, Velazquez fell hard.
Swinging in the dark.
He didn't know what was going on, so he sent more reinforcements. He just sent like multiple ships full of men, food, and weapons who were all ordered like, kill Cortez. If you see Cortez, kill his fucking ass. But just like Narvaez, the ships would arrive, this time only Narvaez, he came in a big force. But like these other guys would come one by one. And, so like the dudes will come out of Villa Rica, which is close to the coast, and they'd be like, hey, come in here. They see another Spaniard. And, the captain would dispatch like, himself and some people. And he'd be like, come on, let's talk. Yeah, for sure. Like, fuck Cortez, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as these guys would be like, we're looking for Cortez. We're going to fucking kill him. He's a fucking asshole. Cortez's right-hand man would be like, for sure, and just hold him at knife point and be like, give me everything on your fucking ship or I'm going to kill you. Beef. And then they would like show the gold, show this, and be like, bro, like there's plenty of this for everybody. Yeah. And then he would flip all those people. So one by one, those people would come, and it was basically like, join us or we're going to kill you and your whole fucking crew.
What a squad.
That's beast. Dude. And they got ships that way? They didn't have to end up building the ships?
5 ships full of supplies and people were taken in this swashbuckling fashion. Also during the, I mean, you're talking like a couple hundred guys.
Yeah.
Food for the next few months.
Yeah.
Weapons, gunpowder. Like
Ships
it was
probably had cannons on them.
Oh, big time. All that shit fell right into his lap. And during this time, the governor of Jamaica, Francisco de Garay, sets off with a few ships of his own, hoping to help himself to some of this Mexico stuff. But when he landed, I think more towards like the northern part, his forces just got so fucked up by whoever was living there. And they tried to escape and were, you know, they like got back on their ships and were just sailing, running out of supplies, basically on the you know, brink of starvation. They came across Veracruz, and Caballero, Cortez's boy, welcomes them. They weren't a threat because they weren't coming to like attack Cortez.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, here you go. He feeds them up, gets them healthy, and then tells them basically like, yo, we saved your lives. Like, you guys kind of work for Cortez now and your boats are ours. But I think they were kind of like, they were honorable, being like, yeah, we owe you guys. You saved our fucking lives. And he also, again, told them, like, if you guys are coming here for, like, gold and shit, we're already on it. So, from the Garay expedition with all their ships and all their stuff, and the other people Velasquez sent, Cortez's force, after a few weeks, was up to 1,300 men with a bunch more fresh horses, gunpowder, crossbow guys, you know, all that shit, fucking cannons, all that stuff. Also, and this is a nasty way to get good luck. During the same time, while Cortez's, you know, luck with the ships and supplies was soaring, the Aztecs were dealt a deadly blow. So during the Navarrez attempted conquest of Cortez, and then I guess Mexico was the plan, one of their African porters, is what they were called them, were suffering from a nasty case of smallpox, and they led him up in the village of Sempola, which was the like original village of Cortez's first allies in Mexico, and the town of the Fat Chief, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he spread smallpox through Sempola, which then spread through all of Mexico. And it decimated, dude. It went all the way to Tenochtitlan, and it just spread really quickly too, because a lot of just like the lifestyle among these people was like a lot of just communal, close quarter living, and also like they had no way to stop it. They like smallpox came through, and like they had no medicine to stop something like smallpox. And one of the ways they would kind of combat sicknesses, which they would do basically a steam room. So they would dig out these ditches and heat water up, and you do a communal steam bath. Yeah. The problem was with smallpox, it's airborne. So you have this like humid, wet air that everyone's sharing. And if smallpox, you're all just blistered and scabbed. Yeah. So the water, you get in the water and you're coughing. It spread through Tenochtitlan so fucking bad.
Everything wrong.
Dude, they really did. In less than 3 months, the virus devastated the Aztecs and all of the surrounding areas, killing up to, they say, half the population in certain areas and leaving many who survived permanently maimed.
Cortez is lucky as fuck, dude.
He got lucky, bro. He
got the universe loves, bro.
I mean, dude, one has to ask the question, maybe you shouldn't cut children's faces off. I mean, the Spaniards were far from perfect, but man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then again, lining up, you know, the whole village and murdering them.
True.
Tough. That's
branding
tough
the
stuff.
Women and kids.
Tough stuff as well. But that's tough stuff. But wearing a child's face, I don't know, man. What's worse? I think wearing a child's face.
Picture.
You know, there's like a certain logic to like taking out your enemies in a village. Again, it's very cold hearted and ruthless. But wearing a child's face and like dancing to a cheering crowd is. Goo goo gaga. Also, the smallpox sickness also messed up food production in Tenochtitlan, because there's people who like would prepare food and grow it, just got sick. So like they set off some short term but pretty serious food shortages, leading to some famines that were kind of affecting Tenochtitlan. So Cortez is like rising to power. Yeah. Again, just through really sheer luck, and also a little bit of the skill. His right hand men were pretty nice at like swindling these Velasquez guys. Yeah, they were swagged out. You had to give that to them. Just being like, "Oh, dude, yeah, for sure, fuck Cortez." And like, bam, because they would be like, "Cortez is a fucking scoundrel," and they go, "Yeah, don't ever fucking say that again. Give me your shit or I'll kill you." Also, during this time, the Spaniards had immunity to smallpox. That shit didn't affect white people. So the locals now, after being like, oh, they're weak, we got them on the ropes, started going, ooh, these guys might be gods. Fuck. Fuck. And also, unfortunately, too, the Tlaxcans weren't immune, and a lot of them died as well while they were kind of camped up with them.
Yeah, dude, can you imagine losing a battle and then unleashing a plague?
Yeah, I mean, it's and there was a thing. I remember a thing in the book about like specifically skin afflictions were thought to be from one of the god. It was like a god punishment in the Aztecs. If you had like skin shit, they'd be like, "Dude, hummingbird god, what'd you do to piss him off?"
Yeah.
So that was like kind of scary to like be in battle and then get this rashes. It was just fucking them up. So meanwhile, Cortez and his men, unaffected by smallpox, just grow stronger by the day. He took that time afforded to him, by the horrible virus, to just start writing letters to the king. He wrote so many. He like psychotexted the king the entire time, being, "Bro, how you feeling?" He just chilled in Villarica, writing to the king, being like, "Dude, okay, so here's what happened. These ships came. I did jack all of them and all their stuff, but it is all for you." He's like, "My lord, it's all for you. I love the crown. I just don't want this opportunity to pass you by." And he had 500 guys sign it, being like, "Yeah, no, we're all down with this." And also during this time, there were a few of the original Velasquez guys who were like from the team Velasquez sent, who were like loyal to him, who were bitching about wanting to go home. And Cortez was like, "You know what, guys? Get the fuck out of here. Just go home." And he used the ship sending them back to send letters back to Hispaniola, targeting some of the royal audience to petition the crown in his favor. Basically to like, "Yo, tell Velasquez to chill the fuck out. I'm here doing something major for the king." And only the king can tell him, like, stop bothering Cortez.
Yeah.
Cortez also sent a letter to his wife. He has a wife this whole time, by the way.
Beast.
Catalina, sweet Catalina, sending her some jewelry as well. So he must have been fat. He must have been feeling bad about fucking on Malinche this whole time. So now, Cortez, he tells his bro Sandoval. Sandoval's a fucking beast, by the way. He tells his bro Sandoval to take 200 men, 20 horses, and a whole bunch of the Tlaxcans, whoever's, not sick, to go just hit the northeast areas of Veracruz and just conquer any town you see. Just like, we need to like completely spread out the safe zone. Sandoval comes back with, his force a month later after not losing a single Spaniard, with a whole bunch of slave women and young boys. The boys, I think, were there to like work or whatever, but I mean, I just don't put smut on these guys. But he comes back with a whole bunch of slave women and boys tethered to a long pole, faces unfortunately branded as well. And this is kind of a brutal aspect of this whole thing, but soon, due to the influx of the slave babe population, discontent arose within Cortez's ranks. Now, could you imagine why discontent might arise in the ranks?
The slave
babes. The slave babes. What would you guess would be the problem?
That's my slave babe.
Exactly. Why does he get that slave babe and I have this slave babe?
I have this busted slave babe.
That's exactly what happened, dude. Discontent arises within the ranks. Out of all the women taken, the common soldiers were complaining that the officers got first dibs on all the hot lady slaves and they got all the fat and old ones. Cortez's solution, it's like a major problem. Cortez's solution was, which was technically fair, but still very dehumanizing and very nasty, was to basically auction off the hottest slaves to the highest paying bidder. So it was like, it's really fucked up. And then he's basically eBaying the women.
That's feel kind of nice for that, the hot lady. She's like, "I'm worth 500 gold pieces still."
I'm in the first block. It was kind of a proto OnlyFans.
It is, dude. It is first OnlyFans.
But he goes, "Hey man, look, all right, highest paying bidder gets the hottest babes," and they would have to like judge the babes and be like, "You are their number one seed, you're number two," and a heavy discount on the old uglier babes. So that kind of settled. That was like apparently a big problem. And then so Cortez then goes to Cholula after he figures out the babe situation. And Cholula has also been ravaged by smallpox. And now, they're very friendly towards him after the last debacle when he kind of like slaughtered their whole town. And, and they also hear what he's currently up to. And they're like, "Yo, dude, Cortez, fucking we love you, dude. Sorry about all that bullshit. Our ruler just died. So we need you to, pick one of like our new ruler." Like a lot of places started doing that to him. Like, "Can you pick our new ruler?" And Cortez would just like find the guy who was the most stoked on him and be like, "Yeah, that's your new ruler." And so he heads back to Tlaxcala, and he's sorry to hear that his longtime friend and ally, Max Attack, had died from the deadly virus.
Yeah.
And Cortez was like honestly genuinely bummed. He fucking loved Max Attack and ordered his top captains to wear black cloaks for an entire week to show respect. Which is kind of sick, dude. Yeah. They had to just don the black for a whole week. And so now Cortez is asked again to select a new ruler, and Cortez picks Max Attack's oldest son, a 12-year-old boy, and then formally knights him, which was probably the first instance of a Mexican guy being formally knighted by the Spanish crown. And then they baptized the boy, and Cortez, through Malinche, basically urges him to always be great like his father and honor the friendship and not be, a dickhead like Xicotenga the Younger. Kind of like sub-dissed Xicotenga. Yeah. He's like, yeah, like, I don't know, there's some guys out here just like annoying and always trying to get salt off the edge. Just don't do that. Shit's lame. You're a Christian now, dude. He basically was like, you're a Christian man.
Yeah.
Don't, you got to fucking get with the program. So... with all this stuff out of the way, he does a little politicking. Cortez links up with Martin Lopez to see about his ships. And apparently he had taken, they commandeered all these ships back in Veracruz. He took one of the ships that was left in Veracruz, had it dismantled and carried piece by piece over the rugged terrain toward Tlaxcala and put back together so Martin could model his other ships off of that one, which is already like fucking kind of insane. And also, it was smart of Cortez because in the beginning he scuttled. He scuttled those ships way long ago when his guys originally were talking about going home.
Yeah.
Before he got sunk those ships, he did take off all the sail straps, hardware, and he did store that in safekeeping, knowing he might have to build ships later. So he had all of that shit kind of brought up as well, so they could equip the new ships with all the old sails from the old ones. It's a pretty smart move. But this task, by the way, took 8,000 Tlaxcan guys who had to carry them over mountain terrain. So that was a pretty serious ruck.
Yeah.
Just a giant ship wheel. They're rucking, dude. Okay, so now we're in December. It's December now. It's cold, a little chilly. And since September, Martin has been overseeing this gargantuan task. And also... again, this is mission critical to retaking Tenochtitlan. It's like, if they don't do this, there's a chance they never do it ever again. Mm-hmm. He's just been for, several months gathering and fashioning giant planks of wood that once completed would be taken to a small river that would then, because they needed to keep this all away from Aztec eyes because they didn't want them to see what they were doing and try to like attack them and fuck up their shipbuilding. So they dug out a small river so that it was deep enough to build one of these boats to completion, test it to make sure it could float, and it worked. And then they would take it back apart. Yeah. And then, so that was like phase one. Or phase one was like completing the lumber, building the one boat, testing it on the river, taking it back apart. And then basically the plan was to move those boats further up along the Tlaxcan area near Lake Texcoco. Yeah. And then dig out a giant canal a mile away from Texcoco and put the ships in this canal that they would fill with water from the lake. Because the whole thing was if they built them on the side of a lake, the Aztecs could just swarm them with like 1 million war canoes and just launch fire arrows and burn the ships. So they had to do it in the open plains, basically. They had to do it like on land where they were buffered in the open plains. So if the Aztecs tried to fuck with them, they would just destroy them with their horses. Yeah. But the problem was they had to carry the wood fucking miles and miles and miles. It was actually kind of it was just an insane military scheme. Yeah. No one's ever done a naval operation kind of landlocked. Like, it was the largest landlocked naval operation ever done. It was something that was like insane at the time.
What about World War II? What about the nuclear bombs? Oh, you said at the time.
Yeah, but in terms of like shipbuilding and transporting ships over land, apparently, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you'd think now they just drive ship parts like it's fucking nothing. Yeah. But also, I think you can also now just build ships next to the water. Yeah. Like, I don't know if anyone had to build 13 giant warships on land ever. It was just like a fucking weird move. Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, that was the plan. It's like, all right, we're gonna test it here, then carry all the wood up closer to Texcoco. So they're going to have to take Texcoco. Yeah. And then fall back a little, like a mile back, dig a trench. We'll get more into it, but they had to dig a mile-long trench, 12 foot deep, which is, dude, it's insane to try to do that in like a timely fashion.
How long was this building, unbuilding, like time frame?
Building, unbuilding the ships?
Like this whole thing?
I think they had like a year or so. Okay. A couple years. I think they had a year maybe to do all of it. I'll check the time frame again, but it moved in like waves of months. Yeah, where they'd be like month after month after month. So again, like we said, it was kudos to Cortez. This was his original idea to be like, look, we're going to build ships on land, secretly carry them, and just lumber, and then put them together real quick, dig in the canal, and just attack Tenochtitlan with a huge naval support. So give credit where credit's due. Obviously, branding ladies' faces and auction them off. Who's the hottest lady is not very nice. So, all right. So now we're actually we're in chapter 20, and make sure I'm right here. Sorry, Sean. Just pause it one more time. All right, we're back. So now we're in chapter 17, Return to the Valley of Mexico. And while the shipbuilding phase was going on, the Aztecs were dealt another serious blow. Quetzalcoatl died, the Aztec emperor who filled in for Montezuma, died of smallpox, leaving them leaderless. But this guy, Prince Cuauhtémoc, not Cuauhtémoc, Cuauhtémoc steps up, nephew to both Montezuma and Cuauhtémoc. One of the native sources claim that Prince Cuauhtémoc, now emperor, was the guy who launched the stone that killed Montezuma. So, some, again, could be cap, but all sources agree that he was a fierce warrior who was completely tested on the battlefield and was like an absolute monster. So the first thing Cuauhtémoc did, the final emperor of the Aztec Empire, first thing he did, and he was pretty savvy militarily, he sent messengers to the surrounding areas and all the vassal states just to be like, yo, dudes, because they were all kind of fearing the Spaniards. So he was like, yo, we just almost killed them. Join us and let's just like fuck these guys up once and for all. And they're like, if you join us, we're going to stop like asking for so many sacrifices. They're like, we'll lower your tribute. We don't need as much food.
Some, but
yeah, we're going to take some. And we need some food. Actually, we need a lot of food right now, but we'll chill with the sacrifice victims. And some of them were like, fuck yeah, dude. Well, we got you. We're stoked. Fuck these Spaniards. But a lot of them were wavering in support because they were, they're hearing the gruesome tales of Cortez 2.0's brutal fucking assaults and mass enslavement campaign. So they were kind of like, kind of don't want to get all the dudes murdered and everyone sold into slavery. So they were like, it was like half and half. Half the people like, we'll ride with you. The other half were kind of giving them like, yeah. We'll see.
We got you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll see what's up, man. Let you know. So Cortez, again, the whole time, he's just been training up his guys. He's giving the Tlaxcalan warriors like official Spanish military training. He's like, getting everyone in shape, shoring up the swollen forces, and doing a final inspection before descending upon the Valley of Mexico. And again, his force, it's looking good. The men are well rested and strong. And also, Ixatinga the Elder pledged 80,000 Tlaxcalan warriors, which Cortez accepted 10,000 of them, knowing that feeding all 80,000 guys on the go would just be next to impossible. Yeah. So he tells Ixatinga, he goes, yo, appreciate you, bro. Keep those other 70K guys at the ready. I'll let you know if I need them, but I'm going to take these 10,000. You're the best. Love you. And Cortez then assembles. I mean, these guys were literally pawns, bro, on the chessboard. It's crazy. They would just send these guys. It's kind of nuts. But so Cortez assembles the entire mass of soldiers. He's rolling like 12,000 deep.
This is the biggest squad he's had.
This is big. Yeah, this is a big one, man. So he assembles them in the plaza of Tlaxcala and delivers just another sick speech, and then has one of his guys read a list of he has 17 rules of battle now. Basically a list of commandments to be followed. And it was like, don't rape ladies. It was like, no fighting amongst yourselves, no raping ladies, no pillaging unless I say to, and also no gambling with the exception of card games, but only if I say that's cool. And apparently that was so he could just play cards in his tent with his boys. So he didn't want his soldiers playing cards because they probably get into fights. So he was like, no gambling. You guys can't gamble, but him and his boys would gamble pretty much all night.
Wow.
So
that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from his perspective because it's like, you have 18-year-old Spanish guys in the 1500s and like you have guys, they probably would fight each other to the death if they like lose a game of dice or like they cheated, they would probably like kill each other. So the giant force sets off, lugging all the equipment and whatnot over these brutal mountain passes all the way into Aztec territory. And also like on the way there, they were like on the narrow passes, they would get nervous being like, fuck, like this, if the Aztecs fuck with us on narrow passes, this is where they kind of kick our ass. But nothing happened. And then on one of the roads, they saw it was blocked with a bunch of tree branches that they were like, damn, these are freshly cut. They removed the branches and still proceeding with caution. They were like, all right, no ambushes. And then, we're not in the open plains, like, oh, fuck. Finally, they see Tenochtitlan in the distance, but in the plains, they could have attacked them on these like narrow winding trails. Yeah. These guys love standing in fields. So like did like the open plain blocking kind of like Texcoco, the whole Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, whatever, the Triple Alliance territories. Yeah. There's just a big force of Aztec soldiers, and Cortez just dispatches 20 cavalry with big spears lowered towards them and scatters them away. So finally, they camp in the village outside the Texcoco state. And the Texcoco is like a major power, like the second strongest compared to Tenochtitlan. So this was like this was no joke. So they're like, fuck, man, worried about a night attack. So Cortez, as always, has his men sleep in their armor, and he has like a watch erected along the perimeter. But to his relief, the only nighttime visitors were a small party led by the brother of the current Texcoco ruler, coming to let Cortez know that they didn't want any problems. Well, at least he personally didn't want any problems. And he goes, look, I'll help however I can because my brother's the king of Texcoco and it should have been me.
Yeah.
So this fucking guy.
Hating ass.
For real. It's complete hater. This is complete hater energy. So he goes, dude, like, fuck my brother. Like, let me know what I want to do to help you. Cortez is like, all right, sick. Appreciate you. So Cortez wakes up that next day, marched toward Texcoco, hoping, like they'd be chill and submit. Again, he's always like a come in peace, chill out, just, submit, become vassals of the Spanish crown or I'll have to kill you. But the current ruler, this dude's brother, sent a party of people out saying, look, dude, I don't want any problems. I want nothing but peace and friendship. He goes, you guys can stay here. We'll feed your forces, whatever you need, whatever you have to spare, you can have it. And Cortez is like, thanks. But also like, remember when you guys attacked us a while ago and we lost a bunch of treasure? Like, if you guys really are our friends, pay us the treasure you guys took from us the night we lost it on La Noche Triste.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, yeah, we'll look into that real quick and we'll figure that out. So Cortez and his guys ride into Texcoco and they're freaked out because like this was like a bustling, metropolitan area. Totally, it's just completely deserted for the most part. There's like not a lot of people. And Cortez is like, they've seen this shit before and like, fuck, I think this is a trick. So Cortez orders the arrest of Texcoco's ruler, the guy's brother, but the dude had already took off along with the majority of the population. And then Cortez, realizing he'd fallen into a trap, goes on a rampage and just like breaks all of the shit in their temples and just lit a bunch of buildings on fire and also rounded up every remaining woman and child, branded them as slaves. Quick babe auction before setting up quarters in the chief swanky palace. I mean, dude, burning like the order of operations so funny. But we're clearly going to smash all their religious statues, auction their babes, and then I'm going to bed. So Cortez now is like, all right, like, I don't know, man. This is it's kind of weird, dude. Like, we're deserted, but he's up in the chief swanky palace. So he's like, it's kind of sick, but also like, what the fuck do these guys have up on their sleeves? So Cortez meditates on the situation and he's thinking about it. He goes, all right, if nothing else, this newly, founded emperor of the Aztecs, Cuauhtémoc, he clearly has local support. So he goes, okay, before I, go on my siege of Tenochtitlan, let me try to gauge how much support this guy really has and where his support's coming from, where it's not. So his plan now, along with the, the giant ships being built, he goes, before I even go into Tenochtitlan, I'm going to circle it in every place surrounding it. I'm going to pay them a visit and basically see where they stood. And if they stand against me, just completely fuck them up. He's like, my plan was, he wanted to completely cut off Tenochtitlan, like encircle him. So, because they'd once surrounded him, so he's like, I'm gonna give them a taste of their own medicine. So after a few days in the ghost town of Texcoco, his men just rummaging about for food, they're getting hungry. Cortez is paid a visit by some nearby rulers of smaller Texcoco towns, and the guys come begging forgiveness. And they're like, dude, we want to pledge to the Spanish crown. We were forced to go along with the plan to trick you. Please forgive us. And Cortez goes, look, we'll forgive you guys, but only if you gather your populations back in the nearby villages and start bringing us food. And they were like, deal. So they did that. And it was like, they like basically took over Texcoco without even killing anybody. So now that was what they wanted for the ship operation. They wanted control of Texcoco right outside so they could have, control of the lake and all that stuff. So honestly, it was like, oh, and also Cortez, so he had a supply of food close by. And also he was able to go to the tops of the temples in Texcoco, which gave him like a bird's eye view of Tenochtitlan. Just the way in Tenochtitlan they were spying on him from their temples. So right now Cortez is like...
You can just see the guys on top.
They're both binoculars.
Just looking at each other. So he had... Cortez had owned basically more than half of Mexico's territory, and he had a complete supply line from like across, I guess, a river to Tenochtitlan, all the way back to Villarrica to Veracruz, where he could get ships from like Spain and shit sent in. So Cortez was kind of like, nice trick, you fucking dumbasses. He's like, I'm gonna go, you know, so that was his plan. He's like, I'm gonna go in there and just fucking, I'm gonna chill here, set up camp, and just start kind of testing the whatchamacallit, surrounding areas. So for the next few months, Cortez and the Aztecs were just basically trying to gain influence in the surrounding regions. So Cuauhtémoc would find out Cortez made an ally and then try to steal them, and Cortez would do the same to Cuauhtémoc. They just went back and forth. Finally, Cuauhtémoc becomes, you know, hip to the fact that Texcoco, those little villages, are riding with Cortez. And so he sends some of his bros to go see if he can flip those little villages, like, stop giving them fucking food. But those Aztec messengers are captured by the Texcoco chiefs and brought before Cortez, who just grills them for information and then sends them back with a message for their leader, basically submit peacefully or we'll destroy the entire city. So Cortez is
nice.
Yeah, I mean, he's you know, he's trying to be a gentleman about it. So Cortez decides to head south to Ixtapalpa to see if he can gain their support, because he's starting his little encirclement of Tenochtitlan. So he divides his force, leaving a bunch of people in Texcoco. The majority of people are in Texcoco, and then he takes a small force with himself to march on Ixtapalpa to let them know basically the deal, like, you're either going to get with me or you guys are going to get fucked up.
Get down or lay down.
Dude, yep, exactly. So as he gets closer to the city, he noticed the local villagers sending smoke signals, which informed the Aztecs about Spanish movements. And he goes, okay, so these guys clearly aren't our boys. They're already telling the Aztecs we're here. Fucking assholes. So as Cortex, he's like, obviously friends don't do that. Cortez enters the city of Ixtapalpa and he notices it's like, now this is completely empty, total ghost town. And before he could even say, like, what the fuck is going, something weird happened, the ground around his feet started filling with water. Turns out it was a water trap. The Aztecs had opened the dike of Nezahualcóyotl, sending seawater pouring into the city at an alarming rate. And Cuauhtémoc's plan was to drown the Spaniards while they camped at night, but I guess they opened the levee too soon. But still, Cortez kind of just stood there being like, what the fuck is going on? And luckily, one of the Texcoco allies, the chiefs, understood what was happening, and they tells Cortez, like, we got to get the high ground now. But also there were some Aztec warriors who were descending upon them, trying to keep them from the high ground, setting up something of a Waterworld battle. But Cortez and his guys fight their way to higher ground through the Aztec force. And so the water's still coming slowly, so they go back down and destroy as much of the village and loot whatever they could. But then the water just out of nowhere flooded really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think like 500 of the Tlaxans drowned.
Yeah,
because those guys, when they got to burning these villages, that no one could control the Tlaxans. They would go so insane on anything. So they were like going nuts, and they rampaged pretty far into the village, and a lot of them got carried away. But Cortez and his guys like barely escaped. So they barely escaped, and then all these Aztec guys started coming off of war canoes to attack.
And that was before the boss battle, right? The Waterworld fight. The Waterworld fight's usually before the boss battle.
So then Cortez,
Classic Mario.
the sizable force of Aztecs come up on war canoes to attack. Cortez had his guys fight a retreat all the way back to Texcoco, and that was the end of that. The Aztecs considered it a big victory, while in reality, one of their key cities had basically gotten flooded and destroyed. And Cortez was happy just to get out of it. He was getting out of it alive. He was like, yeah, we had a retreat, but like kind of mission accomplished here.
Yeah, and they flooded their cities.
Yeah, you guys, we burned it, and then you guys flooded it. Okay. And then like we all survived. Yeah, we lost probably about 500 to 1,000 Tlaxans, but we got, 10,000 of those guys.
Texcoco or Ixtapalpa?
This was Ixtapalpa.
Ixtapalpa.
Texcoco is like, that's their home base. They're not going to fuck Texcoco up. So now, so Cortez gets back to Texcoco, and he hears about another city, a city named Chalco, who, surprising to Cortez, because this was like really riding for Tenochtitlan pretty hard. And they had actually a force of Aztec warriors set up in their city. They had sent a secret messenger to Cortez to say, hey man, not really feeling the Aztecs right now. If you can get them the fuck out of our city, because like we didn't ask them to come here, we'll become your vassals, but you got to get them out of here. So Cortez taps Sandoval to lead a force to Chalco and get it done. They arrive at the gates of Chalco, and there's a large Aztec force again awaiting them, ready for battle. However, again, dude, they set up shop in the open fields, and the Spanish horses have that massive advantage we've seen time and time again. But the Aztecs this time were prepared with large spear, like copper-tipped spears, so they can impale the charging horses. But it's like, I mean, think about it, dude. If a horse runs full speed at you and all you have is a spear,
Yeah.
it didn't work that well. I mean, it's like, I get the idea, and you might stab one, but it's like, I like really ran through that in my head. I'm like, dude, if a horse ran full speed at me with a guy with a sword swinging, like, what are the odds of going like, oh God, and like moving out of the way? I mean, you could like tuck roll to the side, and I don't know.
Copper's not that strong anyway, right? Wouldn't it
it's really
break
not.
on
No,
surface?
it's not. Compared to iron, dude, it's actually a very soft metal. You can bend a copper pipe and it'll snap.
Damn, dude.
So, yeah, so they go to Chalco, they go in the open fields. Aztecs get absolutely fucked up. They get scattered with ease, and Sandoval, along with a force of Texcocoans, enter the city, kick the Aztecs out of their central command post, and claim the city for Cortez.
Texcocans. Are you talking about Sean?
Huh?
No,
Sean, you think he's a
Texcocan.
He's a Tex cokehead? Jeez, Lemaire. Guy just had the norovirus.
You're a tech. I know you are, but what am I?
So Sandoval
Freaking bastard.
left a small force behind in Chalco, whatever the hell it was called. Left a small force behind to guard the city of Chalco and headed back to inform the delighted Cortez about his victory. Cortez high fives him and just immediately he really fucking has Sandoval doing work. That guy never gets to chill. He goes, dude, go back towards Tlaxca and check on the progress of our great ships, and maybe stop off in Zeltepec along the way and fuck them up, since they had killed, earlier on they had killed 45 Spaniards the year before when a contingent of Navarre's men were dispatched to meet with Cortez, but were ambushed outside of the city of Zeltepec and all brutally killed, all 45 and their horses, no survivors. So Sandoval hits Zeltepec, where he and his forces drive the Aztec out of the town. It was just a piece of cake. There was Aztecs there. Same deal as Chalco. They're there like an Aztec outpost kind of looking over the town. Sandoval and his boys just ride up, beat their fucking ass. And then Sandoval goes to the local chief like, yeah, you motherfuckers are next. And the chief, like trying to be cool, is a really weird move. He's like, no, we're your boys. He goes, dude, check out what these Aztecs did. And he took Sandoval and some of his guys to a temple where the skins of 5 Spanish horses that had been flayed out and preserved sat on the ground along with the faces of a few of Navarre's men, beards and all, with their blood clotted all over the walls, or clotted in the beard and smeared all over the walls. Sandoval was just like, why the fuck did you show me this? He's like, dude, as punishment for this shit, what do you think they did? Slaving the villagers. More slaves. So they took more slaves, but they did pardon the chief. They're like, look, if you submit to the Spanish crown, and whatever this shit is with people's faces in this place, just don't do this ever again, and I'll leave you guys alone. And they're like, all right, deal.
Did they think they were going to think that was cool?
I think they're like, yo, check this out. Like, we're giving you the insight. Look what these guys fucking did. And it was probably these guys. They probably did it too. They like warned their bros' faces. And he was just like, what the fuck is wrong with it? And he's like, that's it. Slaves. I'm taking slaves. I wasn't going to take slaves. I was actually probably going to take slaves, but
now I got a real
now
reason.
I absolutely have to take fucking slaves. Babe auction. Got to do it. He also being the babe auctioneer must have been so tight. I mean, again, brutal stuff.
Yeah, instead of saying slow, you just slapped him on the ass. Sold.
Yeah, I mean, Lemaire, I can almost guarantee you that happened. Also, no one talks about it, but Sandoval, so he heads back to Tlaxca to see about these boats, and he must have had the most fucked up dreams for like a month after seeing like flayed faces sitting there with the beard still on, was really like, ugh.
Crazy.
So,
They're
Why
good
would
at that.
fall out?
huh?
They're good.
Yeah,
They
I
would, like,
think you
fall
pass out. They are pretty good at skinning people's faces off.
Yeah, the beard doesn't go.
So Sandoval leaves that godforsaken area of Zweltepec, and he doesn't even get to Tlaxca. He sees the wood, just like he said, they call it the wooden serpent. He just saw 20,000 Tlaxcans carrying the boats, dude. You got to ask yourself, who's going to carry these fucking boats, bro? It was the Tlaxcans. It was absolutely the Tlaxcans. So he goes there. He's not even there. And he gets met along the way by the master shipbuilder, Martin Lopez, trailed by his, massive force of Tlaxcans, carrying gigantic fucking beams toward Texcoco. The plan so far, phase 1 had been a success. The boats had been assembled, tested on the water, where they said they were going to put them on like a small lake, dig it out so it was deep enough to float. and then disassembled. And now they're being carried across the mountain by 20,000 fucking guys. And also, it was like Sandoval couldn't even believe what he was seeing. There was 10,000 Talaxans carrying the lumber while another 10,000 warriors guarded them on the perimeter. And he was like, all right, it was like the most important thing possible.
Yeah.
Sandoval mounts his horse and escorted him to Texcoco, where they just were able to move completely unmolested. The caravan of planks, hooks, sails, nails, and all things boats snaked its way up and around the mountains for 4 hard days, the whole party of people being 5 miles long, until it made it to the gates of Texcoco, and the Tlaxicans, proud of the display of their strength and dedication, started blaring conch shells and banging drums, just like announced their own arrival. They were just singing songs about like how strong they were and how hardworking they were, and just kind of like,
That's fair.
it's kind of sick. They just they made their own entrance music.
Yeah,
They were
that's
like,
nice.
check us
Yeah.
out.
They came to the door, Stone Cold's glass breaks.
Yeah. I mean, giving themselves their own entrance music is kind of tight. So with that phase, that was, let's call that phase 2 of just transporting all the wood. Now with that basically impossible feat out of the way, Cortez, after giving Martin Lopez a massive fucking high five, starts on phase 3, which was digging a giant trench that would connect to Lake Texcoco while they rebuilt the ships kind of away from the river's or the lake's edge so they couldn't get attacked. The canal took 2 months to dig. It was 12 feet wide, 12 feet deep, and 1 mile long, worked on by 40,000 Talaxans, working in nonstop shifts of 8,000 men at a time. So that's really getting after it. And by now the Aztecs could kind of see what was up to, and they were just sending smoke signals all around. But they again, it was like with the open fields surrounding them, there's nothing they could. They knew they could have brought 30,000 guys. There was nothing they could fucking do.
To just be watching your enemy like finish their plan, and you're like, well, we just gotta wait.
Yeah, they're going, and they had known what those ships were because they'd seen them. But I don't know if they really faced them in battle before. They only got to like see them shoot their cannons and shit, but they didn't have any concept of how to like fight those things. So phase 3 is underway. Cortez decides to mount up a force and see about some of the northern cities. He's like, let me go all the way up and kind of submit these guys to the Spanish crown. So completing my chokehold on Tenochtitlan, starting with the city of Azaltocan. And it wasn't a major threat to Cortez, but it would be useful for the naval operation since the city was surrounded by water, just like Tenochtitlan, but just a smaller version of Tenochtitlan. And when Cortez and his squad gets there, he's bummed to see that the bridge had been destroyed and is greeted by a horde of Aztec war canoes full of warriors sporting darts and arrows, or just spewing darts and arrows. And the war canoes also were equipped with they had amped up their games now where they put big wooden shields on their war canoes. But it's not enough to stop a cannonball. So, they just started blasting these war canoes with cannons, and the warriors started to retreat, and Cortez was about to be like, fuck it. There's no bridge. We can't do anything. He was about to head back himself when a couple of his Indian allies told him that the body of water was nothing more than a shallow canal that actually had been recently dug. And Cortez tells them to go ahead. He's like, all right, we'll prove it then. Walk across it. So the guys do, and the water's only waist deep. So Cortez and his whole force ford the small stream and continue their attack, driving the Aztecs all the way out of the city and conquering that place. Cortez rides north the next day, and again, all he sees are deserted towns and cities because all the inhabitants of all the local towns had run to Tacuba. That was a massive state. That was the third part of the Triple Alliance. And the Tacuba Causeway was the area, by the way, they had escaped during La Noche Triste. Okay. That was you're in Tenochtitlan, you can escape towards this place. That they escaped towards Tacuba. So again, they had massive beef with the Tacubans because they're like, you motherfuckers are probably throwing rocks and shit at us.
Yeah.
So they were like, all right. So they're scheming on Tacuba, and they're like, we're gonna fuck these guys up. They had a major grudge against the city. Cortez and his men ride up on Tacuba, and they see a pretty massive Aztec force, and the Aztecs attack immediately. And after a decent fight, the Aztecs again fled, leaving the city open for Cortez. And the Tlaxans, again harboring their eternal enmity towards all thing Aztecs, start really fucking the city. Anyone they saw was just, they were dead. They burned the city, took anything they could. So the next morning, the Aztecs flipped the script and attacked them in the city. So they were in the city of Tacuba, and the Aztecs were like, yeah, check this out. We're going to trap you guys in the city and fuck you guys up again. And so it was basically, they went on for a week like that. The Aztecs would come attack them. They would defend the city, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, the Aztecs faked a retreat giving Cortez and his guys room to start evacuating across, I guess they had fixed one of the causeways. And when Cortez and his guys started to cross to get the fuck out of there, the Aztecs came back in a surprise attack, catching them at a disadvantage and killing a few of the Spaniards. But the Spaniards pressed on and finally made it back to the mainland, where they returned to Texcoco, basically fighting skirmishes along the entire way. So get back to Texcoco, and they're like, all right, fuck, we submitted, we got to Cuba, like we're taking out the Triple Alliance. But they're like, around this time, the ships are still being, or the canal's still being built, and the ships are being rebuilt, or the canal's being dug, and the ships are being rebuilt, and things are going swell. But now Cortez hears of a conspiracy against him involving up to 300 soldiers who are still loyal to Narvaez and Velasquez, led by some guy named Antonio de Villafana.
Oh, Antonio's going to get the
Dude, Antonio Villafana had a nice plan. His plan was to draft a fake letter from the king to hand to Cortez, and while Cortez and all of his officers were gathered in a tent to read it, the mutinous gang would fall upon him in the tent and stab them all to death, and then take command and then free Narvaez and flee back to Cuba. That was a master plan.
That was a good plan.
It was a decent plan. However, Cortez and his closest officers just stormed Villafana's quarters, and he immediately just cops to it. It was like, yeah, my bad, dude. I was totally gonna fuck you guys up. I'm so sorry. And he actually gave up the list. He had a list he wrote down a list of all 300 names of the guys who were like,
oh, he was ready to snitch.
I know.
He
was kind of
so
dumb.
ready.
Back then, you'd have to get guys to sign documents. You could show other guys, look how many people want to do this. So he had the list on him, and it was actually pretty smart. Cortez pockets the list, but then I don't know if this is Cortez's idea. I think it's one of his advisors. They spread the rumor that Villafana ate the list before anyone could get it, so that the people who were against him thought they were safe and had no idea. Yeah. Cortez, they don't talk about it anymore, but Cortez basically arranged a personal bodyguard for himself 24/7, and then slept in a coat of armor from then on out. Yeah. And Villafana was hanged outside of his room for everyone to see, and all the other traders, unbeknownst to themselves, had eyes on him. So they had people kind of like keeping an eye on them, and I think the thing just died out after they hung that guy. So as the boats near completion, Cortez sends Sandoval southbound now. They went north, and now they're heading southbound to finish the campaign of conquering all the territory around Tenochtitlan, completing his chokehold on the area. So Sandoval heads south, pretty much slashing his way through all these places and villages, comes up on this place called Yexopixtla, which was difficult to take given its strong elevated position. Sandoval from the bottom is like, you guys better fucking surrender or face the consequences. And what do these guys do? They throw a bunch of rocks at him.
Yeah, they love throwing rocks.
Dude, and that'll piss you off.
Yeah.
And you're at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, true. They shoot an arrow, shoot a dart.
So Sandoval goes, all right, you know what, dude? He tells his guys, he goes, I am going to conquer this place or die trying, because fuck these guys. So he fights his way up the hill, catches a rock to the head. Dude, they were rolling boulders down at them, just like really fucking them up. Finally, Sandoval and his guys make it to the top of this village, and unfortunately, they throw a bunch of the villagers off the cliffs. They're like, yeah, you guys want to fucking throw rocks? They throw them off the cliffs, and then
they probably saw one of their boys get crushed by a boulder.
That's what I'm saying. It was kind. They were hot. They were kind of heated, so you get it. And then guys would try to climb down, and they would fall. So it was they took that place just because they're like, fuck this. So Cortez questions all the prisoners taken from this place when Sandoval brings them back. And all of them say the same exact thing. They said Cuauhtémoc he'll die before he surrenders. So like all this peace talk, it's like, shut the fuck up. Like it's on.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. You got to fight us to the death. So Cortez is like, all right, fuck, I'll ride south now and see if I can conquer any of these little places. So Cortez now hits a place called Xochimilco, known as the Field of Flowers. And this was a town where Tenochtitlan got a lot of their veggies from. Because the plan of encircling Tenochtitlan was to disrupt the food supply. That was a big plan. Sean's face. Sean looks like he's in school right now. No, dude, you're totally fine. This is very information dense. I'm sorry. So Xochimilco was called the Field of Flowers, and they grew the majority of the Aztec veggies. So and apparently the Aztecs relied on 50% of their food from outside sources. So Cortez was like, if they heard there were food providers, they were like, we got to take these guys out. So Cortez was like, all right, let's fuck this place up, disrupt the food supply. But cautious not to be trapped, he just starts kind of like, firing at the force of Aztecs who've been sent to guard Xochimilco. and they slowly scatter, letting Cortez and his men enter the town across another one of these big fucking bridges. But it was a fucking trap because Cortez and his men get into the town. The the chief surrenders, and right as that happens, a whole bunch of Aztec war canoes paddle up surround the city's entrance. Cortez riding at the front with his horse El Romo. I didn't know his horse was named El Romo at the time.
That's cool.
Dude, he leads the force to attack the Aztecs. They fight for an hour until his horse breaks down and he's carried away by a gang of warriors who are like hot to sacrifice him. Which again, they could have fucking killed. They could have killed Cortez. They could have killed him right here. And like again, if Cortez died, the whole thing was over.
Yeah.
Could have killed Cortez, but they're like, oh man, we can't wait to fucking drip this guy's blood on the altar. And again, a massive blunder by the Aztecs. Luckily, Cristobal de Olea, along with the Tlaxcan soldiers, slashed through the Aztecs and free their commander.
Yeah, let's go.
Massive blunder. They're too busy. They're too focused on wearing his face and jerking off his dead body to win the fucking war. Cortez hops on El Romo, and the Spaniards fight through the throngs of Aztecs, lucky to escape with their lives, though they were still trapped in the city because all the causeways had again been removed. So Cortez is like, son of a bitch with these fucking bridges. Next morning, Cortez wakes up, the sunrise, climbs to the top of the temple to see kind of like what's up. And he's just like, holy shit, there's literally 10,000 Aztecs clogging all the surrounding rivers heading this way to encircle the whole city and just, fucking kill us. Cortez runs down the steps, tells everyone to get the fuck out of there now. Luckily, the night before, he had told the Tlaxcalans to fill the fallen bridges. It's like, just start throwing fucking stones in there and just give us a little kind of a runway here. And they were able to accomplish it because they got the fuck out of it. I think they also had burned a lot of the city the night before, so they did destroy the place. Yeah. But they saw those Aztecs coming. They were like, fuck this. And they fucking just bounce out of there. So the Cortez and his company head back to Texcoco. Mission accomplished. Now, as Tenochtitlan had been pretty much completely encircled, the surrounding towns either destroyed or loyal to Cortez. And upon getting back to camp, Cortez was met with another little bit of good news. Another wave of reinforcements had been sent, and the ships were also completed.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, pretty big stuff. Pretty big
stuff.
That
was reinforcements from Spain?
Yeah, they got and Hispaniola. So it was like someone directly from Spain, someone from Hispaniola. So now we're in April 1521. Cortez has, again, completed the encirclement. Every major city-state around Lake Texcoco was either conquered, allied, or destroyed. The 13 brigantines, as big warships, were fully assembled in Texcoco, fitted with cannons or sails. The 1 mile canal had been dug, is ready to go. So at this point, too, he's got, they say 900. I think they had 1,200 Spaniards before, but they're saying he had about 900 Spaniards, 100 plus horses. This is huge. 13 ships, and also 80 to 120,000 indigenous allies, Tlaxcans, Texcocoans, and Chalcans. So he holds the war council in Texcoco, and Cortez, he's like, all right, the next objective here is either the complete destruction of Tenochtitlan or like just make them submit. So like we're going to completely fuck this place up. So
this is the big battle.
This is the big battle. We're gearing up, guys. We're at the end.
We're fucking here, dude.
Their siege begins, man. This is May to early 1520. May to early June 1520. The first thing they do. So one of Tenochtitlan's. They talked about this way early on. I don't know if I mentioned it. It was in the book. All of their fresh water ran from one single aqueduct. And Cortez had learned about it a while back. So he goes, okay. Cortez sent Sandoval with like 100 Spaniards and, several thousand of Tlaxcan allies to march to the springs at Chuetepec and just basically smash the terracotta pipes.
Yeah.
So they disrupted it, just in one easy move, cut all of the fresh water to Tenochtitlan before even attacking the city. Leaving the city during this entire battle, the city's population was drinking only brackish, salty lake water. Oh. So just recovered from the fucking smallpox.
Yeah.
Now they can only drink basically like
poison,
super salty water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a great start. The 13 warships floated down the canal into Lake Texcoco amid trumpet fanfares and artillery salutes. This is like they're just like a hot start. Each brigantine had a bronze cannon. There was 25 soldiers. They had the Tlaxcan rowers are like, I bet you guys can't fucking row these boats. I bet you guys can't.
Watch us.
Watch us do this. By June 10th, the fleet had destroyed or dispersed virtually all Aztec war canoes, establishing total naval supremacy. And those guys, Cuauhtémoc had like dug little traps and shit. And they were like, yeah, we'll like spike their boats. And like these ships were just too fucking big. So the Aztecs go, all right, fuck. They kind of got us on the water. We're going to remove all the bridges. So they're creating like 10 to 20 foot wide water gaps. They did that at night. And in the morning, they went back and forth. Cortez and Cuauhtémoc. It was like a really boring battle. So at night, Aztecs would remove the bridges. During the day, Cortez would have his guys fill gaps with stones and just kind of like wood under just getting fired at with arrows from the fucking guys. So I think his guys would just give cover fire and let them just work all day. So it was just like during the day, they would advance. They would kind of go as far as they could and just start blasting like arrows and guns into Tenochtitlan. Yeah. The Aztecs would pull up on war canoes and kind of fight them back. And they just kind of went on like this, you know, this was like 75 days long. So they get into July now, just doing this kind of like just, you know, destroying the outer districts of the food. Just they're trying to like anywhere that had markets or food, they were like, we got to kind of disrupt this. So they would like come up with ships and kind of blast them with cannons. Yeah. They would just blast, you know, it's a really boring kind of battle. They had one at the Battle of the Broken Bridges, was 3 days of fighting across like a 200-yard water barrier. During this was kind of brutal. 60 Spaniards were killed, I think, when like a gap in the bridge collapsed. There's also the assault on the Templo Mayor, which is, again, they would like enter, they would rebuild the bridges and then enter the city, fight in the city and come back. At one point, Cortez, I guess his guys are getting bored, being like, dude, we've been doing this for a fucking month. It sucks. Cortez leads an attack on the main temple precinct, and after 3 days of intense gunpowder charges toppled the twin pyramids of Quetzalcoatl and Toluca. So I think he finally killed the hummingbird god of war. He had enough of that shit. But again, it was like he had a Sandoval. All of his forces were split. One guy was going towards like the Tacuba Causeway to hit this place. One guy was going on this place. He was going here. So they're all just like going in and getting fucked up, going in and getting fucked up. It was like nonstop. And they're like, the Spaniards were actually getting hurt pretty bad during this. But finally they're getting closer because there was still one last marketplace holdout where all the, the Aztecs were getting all their food from. Because there was a pretty nasty famine going on this whole time. They had no water and they were kind of losing food. So they were like, if we get this last market, these guys will just starve and they'll have no choice. So this was their last stand. The Spanish forces they finally converge on the great marketplace, but are kind of repulsed by super heavy losses. A lot of these guys die because they had they're inside of a city. So like the guys would sit on the roof and just drop boulders. Yeah. So you would like be fighting people in the streets and you just get crushed by boulders and there's nothing you could fucking do about it.
I don't even see it coming.
And the Spaniards, all they could do is destroy houses systematically. They'd be going through Philly and starting from fucking like 2nd Street and just destroying every house on the block all the way to West Philly. That was like what they had to do. And it was, you know, the whole time while trying to destroy the houses, they got boulders dropped on their heads. So it was a fucking...
Were they fighting people down there at the same time?
Or the whole time fighting below, getting shit dropped on you, blasting houses with cannons.
I know some guy accidentally dropped a boulder on one of his boys.
It pissed him off. Well, what happened was it just went on for so long. It's fucking summer too. It's hot. No one ever just fucking hot as hell.
In armor.
And Cortez was trying not to. He loved the city of Tenochtitlan. He goes, I don't want to. It's going to be my city. I don't want to knock it all down. This would fucking suck. By August 10th through 12th, Cortez goes, dude, just knock down every fucking place. Fuck this place. I hate it. So they destroy the market. The Aztecs by this point are like starving. They're just like not even fighting anymore. They're just like hiding and kind of surviving and, you know, dropping rocks where they can. Midday, the 13th of August, Cuauhtémoc, his family and principal lords attempt to escape the city. Like Cortez wins. It's over. He's like destroyed basically almost every building in the place. The guys are starving to death. Cuauhtémoc is like, all right, we're out of here. He tries to escape in 50 royal canoes, but he was intercepted by one of the giant warships, Garcia Holguin's brigantine, which it was funny because another guy stepped in being like, yeah, that was my find. And then Cortez stepped over him and was like, yeah, that was my find, actually, right? Because they had like military journals and Cortez was like, that's my credit. Give that to me.
But he really stole it from somebody else?
No, like one of the guys on the ship, the captains were the guys who actually intercepted him. And it was like, hey, write that down in the log that I was the one. And then his superior was like, actually say that I did that. And then Cortez eventually did it. But so they intercept Cuauhtémoc and Cuauhtémoc surrenders and is taken to Cortez, which is kind of funny because Cortez is like, bro, like what the fuck, dude? Like, why'd you make me do that? And Cuauhtémoc goes, bro, my dagger's on my side. Fucking stab me, dude. Like, I'm not going to do this shit with you.
Yeah.
I lost. Kill me. Just fucking kill me. And Cortez was like, where's the gold? He's like, tell me where the fucking gold and the treasure is. And they started burning this guy's feet. I think they spent like a day or two, like blistering this guy's feet with like hot embers.
Yeah.
He was just like, fuck you guys. At one point, he was like, he was credited being like, do you think I like this? That was, I think it's one of his final words. He requested death. He's like, guys, give me death. At the end, all said and done, Aztec military and civilian dead between 100,000 and 240,000. Spanish dead in the siege, 100. But again, there was a massive famine. Like, I didn't really get into how bad the famine. These guys were eating like dirt and lizards.
Yeah.
So like they were fighting this. They actually put up a good fight while with no fresh water and like virtually zero food. Yeah. So and like they had, towards the end of there, it was sad. Like there'd be like starving little kids would pop out behind the rubble and like they looked like skeletons.
Yeah.
They were like, damn, the Spaniards didn't really feel great when it ended. They were like, that was really fucked up. A lot of our guys died, and we just like decimated a village full of starving people. The morale,
like you spaz on a whole country and go, ooh.
Yeah, it starts to set in. So because
too far.
Cortez, so the resistance ended. The Tlaxican and other indigenous allies begin just like 3 to 4 days of systematic revenge killings and sacrificed thousands of Aztec prisoners. So there was like it's kind of fucked up because the Spaniards try to hold like a proper war celebration. Like, yeah, we finally won, but they're so fucked up.
Yeah.
But so the Spaniards ended up drinking, getting hammered for like 4 days, like blacking out. Again, just like really helping themselves to the local population of women. So they were having like a 4-day drunken rape orgy where they're also probably breaking off with the Tlaxcans and like mass murdering people. The Tlaxcans were eating human beings. They had like burning people alive.
Yeah.
The Spaniards and the indigenous Indian guys had a 4-day party that was maybe the most depraved thing ever. Like they said like just it really kind of fucked them up. Yeah, it was rape, murder, a little bit of cannibalism. Skankfest. Yeah, they literally had Skankfest. They had again flaying of Aztec. There was Tlaxcan nobles wearing skins and victory dances. It was widespread rape and looting by both Spaniards and their allies. Spanish soldiers drunk on pulque and wine for days.
I imagine one of the Tlaxcans pulling up to the after party wearing a skin coat,
dude,
like
pulling up,
dripped out, like feeling dripped out. Dude, and everybody's like, "Oh!"
Pulling up to a mass Spanish rape orgy, wearing someone else's skin, drunk, and being like, "What's up?"
I'm like, "Oh shit, it's here."
Yeah, very, very brutal stuff. So after the 4 days, and it's funny they talk about it in the book. Everyone's kind of just like, that was not the way. We already felt kind of fucked up, and that really didn't help us at all.
Yeah. After the 4-day bender, they're like, ugh.
So they're just chilling. They're chilling. And they're like, did I fucking eat a guy? They're like, oh my God.
Fuck.
The mission's over. And the worst part is there's not really any gold to be had. So these guys were completely led into it thinking they're going to become richer than they've ever been. And they just like, there's not much to go around. I mean, eventually he did end up doing a thing where he would promise, just like he got land for his help, you would just give people land where they could then mine their own gold or so you basically like divvied up land and slaves. Kind of, that was the deal. He's like, look, man, like, sorry I don't have any treasure yet, but you can go mine your own resources and, you'll be good. Which I guess was kind of a come up for those guys. But, I'd rather have a treasure chest than have a fucking slave farm in Mexico.
Go back home.
Yeah, I don't want to go home. I have a family. Now I have a slave farm in Mexico. Speaking of families, so we talked about Sweet Catalina. By the time of the party, Malinche had given birth to the first mestizo. Yeah. The first half Spanish, half Mexican guy, to our knowledge.
Wait, Malinche was a guy?
No, Malinche gave birth. No, he wasn't having sex.
Malinche's a girl?
Malinche's a girl the whole time.
You thought Malinche was a guy?
Malinche's a 13-year-old Japanese girl.
Damn.
No, Malinche's a girl the whole time. Yeah. Cortez has been fucking on Malinche this whole time.
I didn't know.
She was like his bottom bitch.
That's his absolute bottom bitch, dude. She saved his life on multiple occasions. Yeah. She was like most of the reason he could even talk and get any of these allies because she could translate.
She spoke like different dialects too, not just
a bunch of different languages. So
she was the best.
She had a baby. She had Cortez's baby, And she's over there just kind of fucking nursing. I think the baby's name was Martin. I think he named him after the master shipbuilder, Martin Lopez. So she's nursing little Martin Cortez.
I mean, Martin might have been gay.
Martin Cortez?
They might have been They might have been gay guys.
Martez? I mean, I kind of imagine Martin as a bit of a sweet boy, like a slick back hair, kind of like, yeah, so these ships would be wonderful. So maybe, who knows? But he definitely knocked Malinche up, has a baby. And Catalina Suarez, his wife, rolls up unannounced. Ooh. Dude.
That's crazy.
Rolls up unannounced. I think sees the infant, is going, this motherfucker. Dude, after the big party, they're all chilling in like an Aztec temple or an Aztec like palace. Catalina like starts screaming at Cortez. They go away into Cortez's bedroom. Catalina mysteriously dies that night and was found with a ton of neck bruises. And they said it was an allergic reaction. Cortez choked his fucking wife to death.
Choked her to death.
She came all the way there to the party, and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And he choked Catalina to death because he didn't want to get married to her. He was forced to marry her. Yeah. And then she came bitching at him about him having a kid with Malinche, and he was just like, "I just took over Mexico," and he choked his wife.
One more
surprising
body?
Turn.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was after the orgy, dude. He did the fucking nonstop orgy.
That's also the worst day. You're partying, and then all of a sudden, it'd be like us partying in Tokyo, and then all of a sudden, all our babes showed up. Like, how'd you fucking get here?
And you imagine, it'd be like if you partied in Tokyo, and Tokyo was like, "Yo, dude, Tokyo's yours."
Yeah.
You guys rule. And like, wait, I have a baby now. You're like, what the fuck?
Here's the key to the city.
So, and that was his tale. He fucking took Mexico. Cortez also, like, he became famous. He was a famous guy, but he, after Mexico, he from 1530 to 1540s, he spent the next 10 years in a series of failed expeditions. He tried to take Honduras. It was a complete disaster. He explored Lower California and also Algiers. But like, he just like a bunch of guys died. Like Mexico, it was a one-hit wonder. Mexico was like a crazy amount of luck. All these other places, it was a fucking disaster. In 1540s, he returns to Spain seeking recognition, but everyone's kind of like, yeah, dude, you were kind of cool 10 years ago. But he had like washed up ex-quarterback energy.
Yeah.
So like he was like, he actually died kind of broke. He didn't have a lot of money, but he was the man though. Like if he roll up, he'll be like just like the people were like Cortez rules, but he wanted an audience with the Royals, and they were like, dude, you're a fucking buccaneer. Like, you're a buccaneer. Thanks for Mexico. But you're a fucking psycho. Get out of here. So he never got the status he was seeking, but he was a legend, dude.
Yeah.
He was a local legend in the pub. So everyone was like, Cortez is the man, but, again, his wife.
Up, drink for free.
Yeah, it's drink for free. Everyone, obviously, you probably could tell the sickest stories. Malinche, this is kind of where are they now? Malinche ended up dying 1529. She died kind of early. She died way before Cortez. Pedro de Alvarado, he conquers Guatemala and El Salvador.
Nice.
Yeah, and he dies 1451 in a war when he got crushed by a rolling horse.
Ooh. Damn.
Yeah, and then Mexico City was founded in 1522 on the ruins of Tenochtitlan. The lake is gradually drained in 1600 to 1900, and the modern city continues to subside because of the compressible lake bed. I don't know what that even means. That just was in the footnotes. But yeah, that's where we have Mexico City now today, and that is the tale of the conquistador, Hernan Cortez. Killed his wife at the end. I didn't see that. They just glossed over that in the book, and it's like, what? He killed his wife at the end of the party.
Her pulling up like that is so
seeing the kid being nursed. I could see her, and she probably said some. I mean, 1500 Spain. She probably said some like really racist shit to Malinche. And Cortez was like, "Bro, you have no idea what this woman's done for me."
But imagine
I don't even like you.
How surprised he was to see her pull up. Like that had to be like. That can't be fucking her all the way over here.
It's been following on the heels of a drunken slave orgy.
How long is it? It was like 3 years, 2 years, 4 years?
It's a couple years. I think it was like 2. I think the whole thing took about 2.5 years.
She didn't think he was going to get some pussy.
Right? I don't think she didn't know what the fuck. She thought he was going to be gone for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So he just dipped, dude. He was supposed to be gone for 2 years. He was supposed to go on a simple errand. And he just took over Mexico. And became literally the legend. And he again could have just walked off the field, but he just went on 10 years, and just so many people died working for him. Because he probably was like, "I'll get you guys glory," and people followed him all over the place. He just got fucked up. Came back to Spain and they were like, bro, get the fuck out of here.
Go home.
Yes, he did. Time, by the way.
Beast.
Catalina, sweet Catalina, sending her some jewelry as well. So he must have been fat. He must have been feeling bad about fucking on Malinche this whole time. So now, Cortez, he tells his bro Sandoval. Sandoval's a fucking beast, by the way. He tells his bro Sandoval to take 200 men, 20 horses, and a whole bunch of the Tlaxcans, whoever's, not sick, to go just hit the northeast areas of Veracruz and just conquer any town you see. Just like we need to like completely spread out the safe zone. Sandoval comes back with, his force a month later after not losing a single Spaniard with a whole bunch of slave women and young boys. The boys, I think, were there to like work or whatever, but I mean, I just don't put smut on these guys. But he comes back with a whole bunch of slave women and boys tethered to a long pole, faces unfortunately branded as well. And this is kind of a brutal aspect of this whole thing, but soon, due to the influx of the slave babe population, discontent arose within Cortez's ranks. Now, could you imagine why discontent might arise in the ranks?
The slave
The
babes.
slave babes. What would you guess would be the problem?
That's my slave babe.
Exactly. Why does he get that slave babe and I have this slave
And I
babe?
have this busted slave babe.
That's exactly what happened, dude. Discontent arises within the ranks. Out of all the women taken, the common soldiers were complaining that the officers got first dibs on all the hot lady slaves and they got all the fat and old ones. Cortez's it's like a major problem. Cortez's solution was, which was technically fair, but still very dehumanizing and very nasty, was to basically auction off the hottest slaves to the highest paying bidder. So it was like, it's really fucked up. And then he's basically eBaying the women.
That has to feel kind of nice for the hot lady. She's like, I'm worth 500 gold pieces.
I'm in the first block. It was kind of a proto OnlyFans.
It is, dude. That is first OnlyFans.
But he goes, hey man, look, all right, highest paying bidder gets the hottest babes, and they would have to like judge the babes and be like, you are their number one seed, you're number two, and a heavy discount on the old uglier babes. So that kind of settled. That was like apparently a big problem. And then so Cortez then goes to Cholula after he figures out the babe situation. And Cholula's also been ravaged by smallpox. And now, they're very friendly towards him after the last debacle when he kind of like slaughtered their whole town. And, and they also hear what he's currently up to. And they're like, yo, dude, Cortez, fucking we love you, dude. Sorry about all that bullshit. Our ruler just died. So we need you to, pick one of like our new ruler. Like a lot of places started doing that to him. Like, can you pick our new ruler? And Cortez would just like find the guy who was the most stoked on him and be like, yeah, that's your new ruler. And so he heads back to Tlaxcala, and he's sorry to hear that his longtime friend and ally, Max Attack, had died from the deadly virus.
Yeah.
And Cortez was like honestly genuinely bummed. He fucking loved Max Attack and ordered his top captains to wear black cloaks for an entire week to show respect. Which is kind of sick, dude. They had to just don the black for a whole week. And so now Cortez is asked again to select a new ruler, and Cortez picks Max Attack's oldest son, a 12-year-old boy, and then formally knights him, which was probably the first instance of a Mexican guy being formally knighted by the Spanish crown. And then they baptize the boy, and Cortez, through Malinche, basically urges him to always be great like his father and honor the friendship and not be, a dickhead like Xicotenga the Younger. Kind of like sub-dissed Xicotenga.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, like, I don't know, there's some guys out here just like annoying and always trying to get salt off the edge. Just don't do that. Shit's lame. You're a Christian now, dude. He basically was like, you're a Christian man.
Yeah.
Don't, you gotta fucking get with the program. So with all this stuff out of the way, does a little politicking. Cortez links up with Martin Lopez to see about his ships. And apparently he had taken, they commandeered all these ships back in Veracruz. He took one of the ships that was left in Veracruz, had it dismantled, and carried piece by piece over the rugged terrain toward Tlaxcala and put back together so Martin could model his other ships off of that one, which is already like fucking kind of insane. And also it was smart of Cortez because in the beginning he scuttled those ships way long ago when his guys originally were talking about going home.
Yeah.
Before he got sunk those ships, he did take off all the sail straps, hardware, and he did store that in safekeeping, knowing he might have to build ships later. So he had all of that shit kind of brought up as well so they could equip the new ships with all the old sails from the old ones. It's a pretty smart move. But this task, by the way, took 8,000 Talaxan guys who had to carry them over mountain terrain. So that was a pretty serious ruck.
Yeah.
Just a giant ship wheel.
Ruck.
They're rucking, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in December. It's
winter.
December now. It's cold, a little chilly, and since September, Martin has been overseeing this gargantuan task, and also, again, this is mission critical to retaking Tenochtitlan. It's like this is if they don't do this, there's a chance they never do it ever again.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been for several months gathering and fashioning giant planks of wood that once completed would be taken to a small river that would then, because they needed to keep this all away from Aztec eyes because they didn't want them to see what they were doing and try to like attack them and fuck up the shipbuilding. So they dug out a small river so that it was deep enough to build one of these boats to completion, test it to make sure it could float, and it worked. And then they would take it back apart.
Yeah.
And then, so that was like phase one. Or phase one was like completing the lumber, building the one boat, testing it on the river, taking it back apart. And then basically the plan was to move those boats further up along the Talaxan area near Lake Texcoco.
Yeah.
And then dig out a giant canal a mile away from Texcoco and put the ships in this canal that they would fill with water from the lake. Because the whole thing was if they built them on the side of a lake, the Aztecs could just swarm them with like 1 million war canoes and just launch fire arrows and burn the ships. So they had to do it in the open plains, basically. They had to do it like on land where they were buffered in the open plains. So if the Aztecs tried to fuck with them, they would just destroy them with their horses. Yeah. But the problem was they had to carry the wood fucking miles and miles and miles. It was actually kind of it was just an insane military scheme. Yeah. No one's ever done a naval operation kind of landlocked. Like it was the largest landlocked naval operation ever done. It was something that was like insane at the time.
What about World War II? What about the nuclear bombs? Oh, you said at the time.
Yeah, but in terms of like shipbuilding and transporting ships over land, apparently, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think now they just drive ship parts like it's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But also, I think you can also now just build ships next to the water.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anyone had to build 13 giant warships on land ever. It was just like a fucking weird move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, that was the plan. It's like, all right, we're gonna test it here, then carry all the wood up closer to Texcoco. So they're going to have to take Texcoco. Yeah. And then fall back a little, like a mile back, dig a trench. We'll get more into it, but they had to dig a mile-long trench 12 foot deep, which is, dude, it's insane to try to do that in like a timely fashion.
How long was this building, unbuilding, like time frame?
Building, unbuilding the ships?
Like this whole thing?
I think they had like a year or so. Okay. A couple of years. I think they had a year maybe to do all of it. I'll check the time frame again, but it moved in like waves of months. Yeah, where like month after month after month. So again, like we said, it was kudos to Cortez. This was his original idea to be like, look, we're going to build ships on land, secretly carry them, and just lumber, and then put them together real quick, dig in the canal, and just attack Tenochtitlan with a huge naval support. So, give credit where credit's due. Obviously, Brandon laid his faces and auctioned them off. Who's the hottest lady? Is not very nice. So. All right, so now we're actually we're in chapter 20, and make sure I'm right here. Sorry, Sean, just pause it one more time. All right, we're back. So now we're in chapter 17, Return to the Valley of Mexico, and while the shipbuilding phase was going on, the Aztecs were dealt another serious blow. Quetzalcoatl died, the Aztec emperor who filled in for Montezuma, died of smallpox, leaving them leaderless. But this guy, Prince Cuauhtémoc, not Cuauhtémoc, Cuauhtémoc steps up, nephew to both Montezuma and Cuauhtémoc. One of the native sources claim that Prince Cuauhtémoc, now emperor, was the guy who launched the stone that killed Montezuma. So, some again, could be cap, but all sources agree that he was a fierce warrior who was completely tested on the battlefield and was like an absolute monster. So the first thing Cuauhtémoc did, the final emperor of the Aztec Empire, first thing he did, and he was pretty savvy militarily, he sent messengers to the surrounding areas and all the vassal states just to be like, yo, dudes, because they were all kind of fearing the Spaniards. So he was like, yo, we just almost killed them. Join us and let's just like fuck these guys up once and for all. And they're like, if you join us, we're going to stop like asking for so many sacrifices. They're like, we'll lower your tribute.
Yeah.
We don't need as much food.
Some, but
Yeah, we're gonna take some, and we need some food. Actually, we need a lot of food right now, but we'll chill with the sacrifice victims. And some of them were like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Well, we got you. We're stoked. Fuck these Spaniards." But a lot of them were wavering in support because they were, they're hearing the gruesome tales of Cortez 2.0's brutal fucking assaults and mass enslavement campaign. So they were kind of like, kind of don't want to get all the dudes murdered and everyone sold into slavery. So they were like. It was like half and half. Half the people like, we'll ride with you. The other half were kind of giving them like, yeah. We'll see.
We got you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll see what's up, man. Let you know. So Cortez, again, the whole time, he's just been training up his guys. He's giving the Tlaxcalan warriors like official Spanish military training. He's like, getting everyone in shape, shoring up the swollen forces, and doing a final inspection before descending upon the Valley of Mexico. And again, his force, it's looking good. The men are well rested and strong. And also, Ixatinga the Elder pledged 80,000 Tlaxcalan warriors, which Cortez accepted 10,000 of them, knowing that feeding all 80,000 guys on the go would just be next to impossible. Yeah. So he tells Ixatinga, he goes, yo, appreciate you, bro. Keep those other 70K guys at the ready. I'll let you know if I need them, but I'm going to take these 10,000. You're the best. Love you. And Cortez then assembles. I mean, these guys were literally pawns, bro, on the chessboard. It's crazy. They would just send these guys. It's kind of nuts. But so Cortez assembles the entire mass of soldiers. He's rolling like 12,000 deep.
This is the biggest squad he's had.
This is a big one. Yeah, this is a big one, man. So he assembles them in the plaza of Tlaxcala and delivers just another sick speech, and then has one of his guys read a list of he has 17 rules of battle now. Basically a list of commandments to be followed. And it was like, don't rape ladies. It was like no fighting amongst yourselves, no raping ladies, no pillaging unless I say to, and also no gambling with the exception of card games, but only if I say that's cool. And apparently that was so he could just play cards in his tent with his boys. So he didn't want his soldiers playing cards because they probably get into fights. So he was like, no gambling. You guys can't gamble, but him and his boys would gamble pretty much all night.
Wow.
So
that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from his perspective because it's like, you have 18-year-old Spanish guys in the 1500s and like you have guys, they probably would fight each other to the death if they like lose a game of dice or like they cheated, they would probably like kill each other. So the giant force sets off, lugging all the equipment and whatnot over these brutal mountain passes all the way into Aztec territory. And also like on the way there, they were like on the narrow passes, they would get nervous being like, fuck, like this, if the Aztecs fuck with us on narrow passes, this is where they kind of kick our ass. But nothing happened. And then on one of the roads, they saw it was blocked with a bunch of tree branches that they were like, damn, these are freshly cut. They removed the branches and still proceeding with caution. They were like, all right, no ambushes. And then, we're not in the open plains, like, oh, fuck. Finally, they see Tenochtitlan in the distance, but in the plains, they could have attacked them on these like narrow winding trails. Yeah. These guys love standing in fields. So like did like the open plain blocking kind of like Texcoco, the whole Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, whatever, the Triple Alliance territories. Yeah. There's just a big force of Aztec soldiers, and Cortez just dispatches 20 cavalry with big spears lowered towards them and scatters them away. So finally, they camp in the village outside the Texcoco state. And the Texcoco is like a major power, like the second strongest compared to Tenochtitlan. So this was like this was no joke. So they're like, fuck, man, worried about a night attack. So Cortez, as always, has his men sleep in their armor, and he has like a watch erected along the perimeter. But to his relief, the only nighttime visitors were a small party led by the brother of the current Texcoco ruler, coming to let Cortez know that they didn't want any problems. Well, at least he personally didn't want any problems. And he goes, look, I'll help however I can because my brother's the king of Texcoco and it should have been me.
Yeah.
So this fucking guy.
Hating ass.
For real. It's complete hater. This is complete hater energy. So he goes, dude, like, fuck my brother. Like, let me know what I want to do to help you. Cortez is like, all right, sick. Appreciate you. So Cortez wakes up that next day, marched toward Texcoco, hoping, like they'd be chill and submit. Again, he's always like a come in peace, chill out, just, submit, become vassals of the Spanish crown or I'll have to kill you. But the current ruler, this dude's brother, sent a party of people out saying, look, dude, I don't want any problems. I want nothing but peace and friendship. He goes, you guys can stay here. We'll feed your forces, whatever you need, whatever you have to spare, you can have it. And Cortez is like, thanks, but also like, remember when you guys attacked us a while ago? and we lost a bunch of treasure. Like, if you guys really are our friends, pay us the treasure you guys took from us the night we lost it on La Noche Triste.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, yeah, we'll look into that real quick and we'll figure that out. So Cortez and his guys ride into Texcoco and they're freaked out because like this was like a bustling, metropolitan area. Totally it's just